When we look at the Middle East, the only country that has somehow managed to maintain its revolution, so to speak, after the Arab Spring began is Egypt, where CNEWA is doing very good work. What is the situation like in Egypt? Why is Egypt such an important country?
Well, first, this is where you find the most Christians. There's between 8 to 9, some would say 10 million Christians in Egypt, about 10% of the population. There's no other countries all over the Middle East that has so many Christians. So if, for example, Christianity disappear from Egypt, you can be sure that this will be the end of Christianity all over the Middle East. And so it is very important to maintain this old tradition of the church. I mean the Coptic church is from the first patriarchates that did so much in terms of theology, in terms of reflection, philosophy to influence the church all over the world. And so, and it's still going on. It's still doing that as well with its great monastery in the deserts, its great reflection of society and involvement in society.
What has Egypt done differently than some of the other Middle Eastern countries where we've seen an Arab Spring?
Well, if you look at Egypt, it was run by a military, autocracy, some would say, dictatorship, oppressive regime, you name it. Mubarak was there for a very long time, before him Sadat and all of that. And it kept, in one sense, Egypt under control. Control meaning that Egypt, like other Middle Eastern countries, is plagued with extremist groups. One of them, which is very extremist, is called the Salafist movement, very intolerant of any other Muslims and any other religion. And then you have, of course, the sea, where all started, the Muslim Brotherhood, that have been kept in jail or out of business by the different regimes, which in one sense has created the stability at a price of freedom. And when the Arab Spring occurred, the people, like any other regime that have been there too long, had basically stealing, putting innocent people in jail, and the people, the civil society, the young people in general, unemployed, went in the streets in 2011 and asked Mubarak to leave and asked for reform. And they created a real revolution. Despite all their attempts, the military could not contain it. Their great surprise, instead of winding down, it increased. Millions and millions of people simply went in the streets, and it could not be stopped. And it was internal. It was not nobody from the external that came to Egypt. It's the Egyptians people that decided to clean up their affairs, asking for a new Egypt. A bit what Syria was not able to do. It was not able to do because of the repressive reaction of the Assad regime at the time. So that was helpful. But it created also a great instability when Mubarak left. Who was going to carry forward the revolution? And that's, I think, is where we had a couple of years of great instability, because the same people that are creating problems, the Muslim Brotherhood and the Salafists, took control of parliament. And they started creating a series of policies that were basically taking away the revolution of civil society and making it a religious, fanatic kind of Islamic approach of Egypt, which was betraying the revolution. And that's when, in 2013, the military decided to do a coup and remove those two groups out of power.
In order to protect the integrity of the revolution.
Yeah. Of course, it was not seen like this, because there was a lot of bloodshed at that time. A lot of people were killed here. So they have a lot of blood on their hands. But if you talk to any Egyptian Christians, they'll see that Sisi has been elected freely. Free election since then has been a blessing, not only to the Christians, but to the entire Egyptian people, because they're keeping this revolution alive. They're keeping their promise in order to create a new Egypt. And fortunately, hopefully, there'll be a moment for the Egyptian people to form real democracy as they define it themselves, not defined by the West, but by themselves. And when they're ready, hopefully sooner than later, then we'll see an Egypt that will really bloom and could influence the entire Middle East.
Very good, thank you.